They called them the Pride of Fort Holloway, a cavalry detachment sworn to carry order across the wild and unforgiving plains. 30 riders in blue coats, their horses hardened by dust and distance, their reputation built on discipline and steel. But out where the horizon seemed to swallow the earth whole, loyalty was tested in ways no parade ground ever prepared a man for. The mission seemed routine: escort a supply wagon across hostile territory. The men expected sacks of grain and crates of rifles. What they didn't know, or at least weren't supposed to know, was that hidden beneath the canvas lay chests heavy with gold coin, payment bound for contractors and soldiers scattered across the frontier. A fortune rolling quietly through country where fortunes rarely survive the night. It began with unease. Captain Elijah Price noticed how their trail seemed to shadow too closely, too easily. Scouts found faint tracks on ridges where no one should have been. Every time the troop shifted camp, riders appeared on the horizon, never near enough to strike, but always watching. Price began to suspect the unthinkable, that someone among his own men had spoken too freely, or worse, had struck a bargain in the dark. Around the campfires, trust thinned like smoke. Brothers in arms became suspects. On the third night, with the wind moaning through the tall grass, the betrayal revealed itself in silence. Saddles were cut through, rifles secretly emptied of powder, and the watch rotation tampered with. When dawn broke, the raiders descended not from the shadows but from every direction at once. Horses screamed, men scrambled, and chaos rolled through the camp like thunder. Half the troop fell before they could even lift their carbines. But here's where the story twists. The attackers cut hard and fast through the camp, then vanished just as quickly into the open plains. They took no prisoners. They left no spoils. The wagons were not ransacked by strangers at all. The gold was already gone. While the men fought for their lives, one rider in Union blue had slipped into the morning haze, driving a single horse heavy with coin. When the smoke cleared, the survivors found Captain Price dead, a single bullet in his back. Not the kind fired from enemy rifles, but from a cavalry-issue Colt. That truth settled on the men heavier than the dust covering their faces. Of the 30 who rode out from Fort Holloway, barely a dozen limped back, their stories splintered by suspicion and grief. The deserter was never caught, the gold never recovered. Some swore it had been Sergeant Callum Briggs, a gambler drowning in debts, his loyalty already sold to the highest bidder. Others whispered it was Lieutenant Mercer, ambitious and too close to men in Washington who would gladly erase a blot on his record. Perhaps both were wrong, and the true traitor carried a face no one had ever suspected. What is certain is that history buried the tale. Reports were sealed, survivors scattered, and official records listed the skirmish as unremarkable. But those who rode that mission carried the truth like a scar. That betrayal didn't always ride in enemy colors. Sometimes it wore the same coat, ate the same rations, and swore the same oaths. And so the plains keep their secret. Gold lost to the earth, a traitor lost to memory, and a company's honor drowned in silence. Yet the question still rides on the wind. What could make a man turn his back on his brothers in the saddle? Was it greed? Was it desperation? Or was it something darker still, hidden in the lonely heart of the frontier?